Good morning everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart 84, Sunday the 30th of June. Just thought I'd do a quick 2-minute talk on camera before flipping the camera around and doing my monthly garden report. Makes it all worthwhile really having a garden and a nice decked area when you get a sunny Sunday morning like this and most of the work's done in the garden. You can just sit down and relax and grab a nice fresh glass of apple juice or a coffee or something, and it makes all the work worthwhile. Weather's completely different again today from yesterday. Yesterday we had temperatures soaring to about 32 degrees centigrade, which I suppose is probably about 86, 87 Fahrenheit, maybe 88, which is pretty very warm here for June. But it's dropped about 10 degrees centigrade today, so I would say it's down to about probably going to be about 21, 22 degrees, which is more like sort of 70 to 73 degrees Fahrenheit, which is perfectly pleasant and relaxing, but just goes to show the extremes we get here even in the UK. In a minute I'm going to do my monthly garden video report or diary, which I like to try and do on the last Sunday of the month where possible. Main reason for doing it is so that I can look back in over 3 or 4 months and see the difference in growth each month in the plants. I mean, obviously I do small videos in between if there's something interesting to see on a particular plant or shrub, but it's nice to do one large one because you can really notice a difference in the summer months. I mean, once it gets to the end of September, October, I probably won't make any because there won't be anything to show in the garden. Maybe the odd flower or fruit that's worth showing later in the year, but I'll concentrate on looking after the indoor plants at that stage. But just thought I'd do a quick talk first, face to camera, so that I could say hello to anybody that happens to watch the videos, and just relax and enjoy the sun for 10 minutes before I did my little tour, so you can see what's changed from last month and what looks exactly the same. I hope you enjoy the little walk around. If it's boring and you don't want to watch, that's no problem at all, because in this weather, who cares? I'll see you again in a second when I've turned the camera around. So I'll flip the camera around now. I'm just going to have a quick tour of what's happening since last month. It's the last day of June. Thought I'd made it out before with the next door neighbours' children on both sides, but I haven't, so they're already on the trampoline, so you'll probably hear the noises in the background. But I just thought I'd have a look at my grapefruit first, because I've noticed there's loads of new growth coming out in it after its transplant, so I'm quite pleased, because obviously a fair number of the leaves were quite a sort of gone quite a yellowy colour, but I have been feeding it with an sequestered iron supplement. Don't want to give it too much because obviously the root's only just been transplanted. I don't want to suffer too much from shock, but it's looking okay. Ignore the children shouting in the background. I doubt they're going to shout anything inappropriate. Camellias are doing very well. I've got two container growing ones. All the light green leaves are the fresh growth that's just come out. It's growing very nicely and keeping well watered, obviously while the weather's hot and sunny. Here we can see the first of my Japanthus varieties. I don't know the name of this one. I can't remember if it came labelled or not from the nursery when I originally bought it, but it's substantially increased in size since I put it in last summer, and there must be 20 or 30 flower heads on this which are going to be coming out soon, so I think in a week's time they'll look very, very impressive. My fig's doing very well. This one is allegedly Rouge de Bordeaux. I've now taken the tip off because it's probably about 8 feet tall. Don't want it to get any bigger than that, because when it does get figs, I won't be able to pick them. Should be able to reach it from my decked area quite comfortably, but seems to be doing very well. It's actually got a shoot coming out from the bottom as well. Haven't decided if I'm going to leave that one or not for the time being. We'll just might let it grow for a bit. Variegated rhododendron, it's put on lots of new growth. Here's another variety, Adipanthus. This is behind the other one in growth, probably 2 weeks later, but it's a much larger flower variety. Again, not sure the name of it, but we'll see what happens. Oh, sounds like one of the children next door's just had an accident. Oh, here's my tomato flowers, and there's a bumblebee on there doing his work. Don't often see the bees on tomato flowers, but normally they just get pollinated by the pollen dropping in the winds, but he's working really hard there, for which I'm very grateful, because it means I'm going to get flowers. These have really grown well in the last 2 or 3 weeks. The aubergine behind there seems looking pretty healthy. Has had a flower on it, which you can probably just about see there, so we may get some fruit. These are my young sweet pea plants coming into flower now. They haven't grown much because they were very pot restricted when I bought them, but they should climb up the fencing. I've got one passion flower I've planted out in the garden, see what happens. That's Passiflora edulis, that's the purple passion fruit, not hardy, but I thought I'd give it a chance to grow up the fence this year and see what happens. Other tomatoes looking very healthy. All 5 plants have got plenty of flowers on, so I'm going to get a good mix of those, which should be ready probably the end of July. Peppers are somewhat slower growing. They're very slow to grow here, and we have had a fair bit of cold weather the last month, but they'll be coming out into flower soon as well. Both my chocolate vines are sending out new growth, so they'll be up the top of the fence soon, and I'll start pruning them to keep them within bounds. Figs are all looking very healthy still. I've still got one Brabron here, hasn't fallen off yet. I'm hoping that's going to grow to maturity. No sign of any new fruits growing out. Well, there are, but I mean very small at the moment. They won't make it to maturity this year. They're all doing well. This is one of my pomegranates. This one is a Molar Delche, or Molar Delch. Don't think it'll have flowers on it this year because it's still quite a young plant. Persimmons all doing very well now. Not easy to see. I'm not going to show close-ups on them because there's not really much to see. My largest pawpaw's doing very well. As you can see, it's breezed today as usual. I think there was one flower on my Rojo Brillant which is still there, which you can probably just about see. May or may not turn into a fruit. So everything else is doing very well. Still got a lot of speckling on the leaves of the Nikita's Gift. I suspect it's got a slight virus, but as it seems to be growing, I'm not too concerned about it. I don't think it's going to be a major problem. These are my gladioli coming out in the flower now. Lovely colours. They were just random bulbs that I got free with a plant order. It's one of my American persimmons at the back. Looking very good now. Next to it is my persimmon, I think that's Giro, that one. Has actually got some embryo fruits on it still. Don't look as if they're going to drop, but we'll wait and see what happens. I wouldn't expect a plant in a pot to produce fruit, but you never know. Everything else is doing fine. The persimmon that I did think was dead, the Costata, is now shooting out fine. But the one next to it, which I think is an American Persimmon Zoochis, I've got to say is still looking terminal. The buds swelled up about 2 months ago, hasn't done any more, so I've got a feeling that might be on its way out, but not the end of the world if I only lose one of them. It's my Asian pear. It's still actually got one fruit on the tree in the pot, which amazes me. Whether or not it's going to make it to maturity, I have no idea. Jujubes. They do have small flower buds forming on the leaf axils. I've got two varieties, 4 plants. All of them have got small flower buds, but as you can see, they flower very late here because we're going to be into July tomorrow. This one, in fact, has got a root sucker coming up on it, which will be from the from the seedling that was used for grafting, because these are all grafted jujubes. So I'm going to let this one grow and then cut it off at a later stage, because you never know, it might produce good fruit anyway, and it's good to have something cross-pollinating. Very pleased with the progress on the mulberries. As you can see, it's really got up to a good size now. That's my Illinois Everbearing. It has still got fruits on it. Mulberries, I believe, in this country normally ripen about August, much later than in sort of warmer climates, so there's every likelihood that I might get a few mulberries on it. Sadly none on the pink Moldovan, but you can see it's a different variety by the size of the leaves and the glossiness. And if I put my hand by that leaf there is bigger than hand sized. Certainly the leaves aren't as big on the Illinois Everbearing, or they may get larger later. If we just walk back down here, my bark path is keeping most of the weeds down. Some more gladioli in flower. Really pleased with how these, I think I planted these up 2 or 3 weeks ago, these little planters, just for summer colour. Absolutely amazing how they've come on in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Very impressive. I've got a mix of petunias, lobelia, lavender, and some geraniums. Here are my 2 cucumbers and zucchini or courgette. Plenty of flowers on the cucumbers now, so that one's doing very well. In fact, if we look in here, got my first courgette, zucchini, as my American friends call them, which is now the sort of size I like to harvest them, to be honest, because I like to eat them when they're small. I think they're much sweeter and more tender. The other cucumber's been looking the worse for wear. I think it might have had a cucumber mosaic virus or something similar, but sometimes they survive and grow through it, so I'm not going to pull it out at the moment. It is sending out new shoots at the top. My little experiment, thought I'd plant a couple of sweet potatoes. Haven't liked the cold weather, haven't grown much, but it'll be interesting to see if I do get any sweet potatoes, but frankly they're so cheap to buy it's hardly worth growing them. It was more just for the fun of it. Moving over to the other bed, this is a dwarf Hebe or Veronica behind there. It's in full flower now. Looking lovely. Obviously the lavenders are absolutely covered in flowers now. My largest pawpaw, that's the unnamed one, didn't have flowers this year, but it's putting on lots of growth. I mean, 6-8 inches long log the shoot, so I'm guessing that next year it'll be covered in flowers. This is my Feijoa or Feijoa or pineapple guava. This variety is Triumph. Did have 2 flowers on it, but it's really too small to be flowering properly. One of my Japanthus varieties, don't know which one this variety is, but we'll see when it flowers in a week's time. My butterfly bush is now in full flower. Sadly no butterflies, but there are plenty of bees being attracted to it, so they'll be doing their pollinating in the garden. I just like the butterfly bushes and I hope that I can get some butterflies. Trumpet vine now accelerating up the fence at high speed. Normally flowers in about sort of July, August here, so I'm hoping to get some flowers on it. That's purely decorative. Still covered in flowers on my bottle brush. Always make a good show for a few weeks. This is the first Atropanthus, which I've done on a separate video, which the head's opened in full flower. But as you can see, plenty of other flower heads, so in another week or 2 this is going to be putting on a fantastic show. This is my unnamed bush pomegranate here, growing like crazy, no sign of any flowers. That's I think that pawpaw behind there is the variety Sunflower. This is my Mediterranean shrub, that's Caesalpinia. I think it's called peacock flower. No sign of flower buds yet, but I'm guessing that will flower in probably August. More lavender, more Aegipanthus opening. I've shown in a separate video, this is my unnamed pineapple guava variety, but as you can see this one's covered in flowers. Whether or not we'll get any fruit remains to be seen, but there's certainly plenty of flowers on it. And tucked away behind there, it's getting very overgrown, is another persimmon. That's an unnamed khaki seedling. So not expecting to see fruit on that, but should grow tall in the next 2 or 3 years. My passion flower, this is the ornamental one, amethyst, is covered in flowers. Bees are really attracted to this, but unfortunately nothing that produces fruit, but it's only there for ornamental purposes, and it does look very nice. More lavender, which is one of my favourite ornamental flowers to have because they put on such a good show and they're really good for the bees. Again, more Aegipanthus coming up. There's my blueberry plant hidden away at the back there. Has still got a few blueberries on it, but although I have picked some, the birds are going mad, attacking them as well. This is a later variety of blueberry behind, so as you can see the fruits are smaller and they're only just starting to turn. But again, when they do ripen, the birds attack them like mad. This is my other named variety of pineapple guava, which is this one is Mammoth. It's actually got one flower bud on it, so I might possibly, if that opens up, be able to use that to cross-pollinate the other plant, which increases odds of getting fruit. Pink lavender tucked away there. Here's my next Aegipanthus. This one's really tall. I mean, you can see this one's got stems up to sort of 5 feet tall in places in the raised bed. Should be putting on a good display. That's my kiwi behind, or Chinese gooseberry. That's Actinidia. I think that's Arguta Issai. That's the self-fertile small gooseberry kiwi. No flowers this year. It was only planted last summer, but it's put on really good growth. And I'm concentrating on pruning it for flowering spurs next year. So I'm expecting to have loads of flowers on that next year and hopefully some fruit. Don't know if I can get down to it, but behind here is my variegated Chilean guava, which is that's an Ugni Molini. I think this one's Flambeau, but the reason I wanted to get up close, you might just be able to see them. It's got loads of pretty little white bellflowers on it, so I'm hoping that's going to get some Chilean guava fruit on it this year, which would be wonderful. Well, I've been feeding this lemon, which is a Myers lemon, with Epsom salts, and I still can't seem to get the leaves to green up to a darker green, but apart from that it's looking pretty healthy, to be fair, and it's had some growth on it this year, so maybe it's not going to be a major problem. Daphne behind's covered in flowers now with wonderful scents. My last Aegipanthus, I've pretty much got all blue ones. I don't think I've got any white varieties, but we'll obviously we'll see when they all come out and flare if I've got any white ones. I prefer the blue anyway. And my Butylon, so I'll show that tucked away under there. Plenty of flowers on it. Flowers pretty much all summer. No fruit production, but I like ornamentals as well. And just a final look at my my large pomegranate, which is my really, must be about between 7 and 8 feet tall. No sign of any flowers on it, guys. That's why it's so hard to grow pomegranates in this country. They don't really come into flower until July, and as the fruits take 4 or 5 months to mature from flowering to mature fruit, that takes us here right up into November, December, and it's far too cold for the pomegranates to develop. So unless I can find a way to get it to flower in June, it's unlikely we'll ever get fruit production here, but the flowers, when they do come out, will be attractive, and if I get some this year I shall certainly be showing them on video. So that's a quick look around the garden to see how everything's looking. Borders are certainly very full at the moment. Fingers crossed this eyesore at the end of the garden's being dealt with later this week. My friend who's a landscape gardener assures me he's coming in to get rid of that tree stump and take the fence and posts down and renew them, so that will allow me to start getting on with dealing with the rest of the garden. So hopefully I'll have something decent to show in a week or two's time. But on the whole, everything's looking very healthy. Quite pleased with how it's all looking. Tomatoes doing well, so I should get some fruits fairly soon. My alocasia's coming out. Leaves are doing nicer now. Looks like it needs some feeding. And one last thing to show, a bit messy in this part of the garden, but here are a load of fig trees that I grew from cuttings off my parents' brown turkey when I cut a load of it back for them. I think I've got about 60 or 70 young rooted cuttings here, which I shall hopefully be potting up this afternoon. That'll keep me busy for an hour or two. Anyway guys, that's it for now. Thank you very much for anybody who's watched the video. Much appreciate you having a look. Welcome to like it, welcome to share it, you're welcome to subscribe to my channel if you want, and if you want to see further videos, notifications of the Agapanthus and other things in full flower, then hit the bell and you'll know about future videos when I post them. Thanks for looking guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. It's a beautiful day here, and I'm going to cut the grass a little bit later because it's grown a lot this week. Thanks for watching, it's Brett out.